Again, it is how our system works. It goes through the House first, then off to the Senate, but it could die there if the GOP does not support the bill. It sounds like, according to Ron Johnson, there is hope that we probably significantly change the bill, kick it back to the House, as I don't think anybody was ready for a $3 to $4 trillion ad, which actually is much worse because the interest rate they assumed was only 3.6. And today's interest rates are noticeably higher than that. Happy Memorial Day. Let's do ourselves a favor and not forget what today is all about. It is about celebrating the men and women who gave all in service of this country. I read this morning that over 1 million lives have been lost in service to this country, protection of this country. So again, it is a 3-day weekend. It is time to have fun, celebrate, make some memories, but do yourself a favor. Take a moment to appreciate the folks that gave everything so that you and I could live in this great country. It's not to be lost. All gave some, but some gave all. It is Memorial Day. Let's not forget that. Let's jump into the crazy headline from Mr. Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is out speaking pretty vocal, specifically after this big, beautiful bill is anticipating bringing additional $3 trillion to our deficit. Ray Dalio is now saying, I think you should be afraid, very afraid of the bond market. Again, folks, we are going to have to watch this over the next several weeks. The bond market, again, as we've talked about previously, has already caused President Trump to react twice, once creating a 90-day pause on tariffs and a second time creating a pause with China. Will this be the third time where the bond vigilantes get out in front of this and frankly say, this is a bad bill. This bill is bad for America. Where is the cost cutting and whatnot that we were promised? We were not thinking we were going to get another 10% thrown on top of our deficit. On top of that, we have the one and only Mr. Robert Kiyosaki. Man, Robert Kiyosaki is certainly a doomer of late. He's gone off the deep end, I think. He is saying the U.S. is heading for a greater depression, but you can become very rich in this crisis if you buy Bitcoin, gold, and silver. I found it interesting that he actually took the time to put price targets on this. I'm curious, which one do you think is most likely? By 2035, so let's call it a decade, exactly a decade, he thinks Bitcoin will be over $1 million. He thinks gold will be 30,000, and he thinks silver will be 3,000. I don't know about you, but hasn't he been making this call every year for the last decade or so? I think it's time for something else, Mr. Kiyosaki. But don't worry, Rich Dad Poor Dad did start me on this journey, so still give you kudos for that. We are getting some word from the Senate. Again, the House passed this big, beautiful bill that added all this debt. According to Ron Johnson, he says there is enough GOP senators to stall the House budget bill until we get serious about spending reduction and deficit reduction. That is encouraging. Again, it is how our system works. It goes through the House first, then off to the Senate, but it could die there if the GOP does not support the bill. It sounds like, according to Ron Johnson, there is hope that we probably significantly change the bill, kick it back to the House, as I don't think anybody was ready for a $3 to $4 trillion ad, which actually is much worse because the interest rate they assumed was only 3.6, and today's interest rates are noticeably higher than that. We are getting some more and more Fed speak. We'll talk about Fed Kashkari. This one's important. This is something I have been talking about since Liberation Day, frankly. Investors are reevaluating where to allocate funds worldwide. This, again, is not about all dollars leaving the U.S. It's about some dollars leaving the U.S. If you are seeing companies or countries like Japan, perhaps, where folks were borrowing in yen and investing in dollars, Have you noticed what the interest rate and bonds in Japan are? They've gone up significantly in the last week. Who is to say that the Japanese don't repatriate those dollars or yen back to the country? If you can get now 3% or 3.5% on a 30-year Japanese bond, why would you maybe pick a U.S. bond if the delta is not as great? I wonder if dollars will be going back to Japan and or other countries. Will the yen carry trade once again blow up? These are all things happening in real time, and we need to be watching that. Kashkari also said the question now is scale of stagflation. Not will we have stagflation. According to Kashkari, at least around this quote, he says we are here. The question is now the scale of stagflation. The tariff shock is stagflationary. That is not good. How about Fed President Goolsbee? Tariffs have a stagflationary impact, and that could be the central bank's worst case scenario. Yeah, that gives me a lot of warm and fuzzies. Again, we're going to have to be paying very close attention over the next several weeks. Got some thoughts out of the Real Deal. Real Deal is a very commercial real estate publication. I enjoy reading their articles. Steve Roth, lenders and borrowers are playing patty cake. The big fix and the end game for over-leveraged properties is yet to come. I agree with this, and you guys have heard me talk about this a lot, Class B and C multifamily. Lenders and borrowers are indeed playing patty cake. And someday there will be a come to Jesus meeting, and these over-leveraged properties will go back on the market, and there will be pain to come. Mark Levin talks about builders. He says builders are canceling projects left and right as they have fear of unknown costs and the threat of a nasty recession in the next 6 months. We are going to be slowing down building for sure. Anybody shocked that President Trump once again delayed the 50% tariff on the EU? Remember last week, I think it was on Tuesday or Wednesday, he came out and said, thou shalt have a 50% tariff on the EU come June 1st. At which point, I think on that day I said, come on, guys, this is 100% negotiation. He doesn't mean it. He'll delay it. Sure enough, this weekend, he delayed the June 1st to July 9th. Very much predictable. At this point, it is just, I don't even know why anybody, I don't know. It's kabuki theater at this point. It's just like, yeah, okay, I know what you're doing. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is something I'm going to be watching. It looks like the Fed, or actually, excuse me, not the Fed, the Treasury, the U.S. Treasury bought $78 billion in treasuries over the last 2 weeks as China has abruptly dumped billions, estimated around 19 billion. Is the Treasury starting QE all over again? Is the Treasury being forced to enter the market like the Fed is the last buyer of last resort? I do not know. Again, it will be interesting to see if this continues and if it grows. I do want to highlight a couple of very key videos that went out yesterday that I think many of you have missed. We actually created a 30-minute highlight reel of the ORAT celebration in Vegas. I think you will enjoy it. If you were at the event, many of the topics you'll see were important. If you didn't go to the event, take a look. Look at what the speakers had to say. Again, I want to shout out Heartfelt Productions and Brandon and team for creating that. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And also, we went ahead and released the 90-minute Q&A with Ty, as it is important for me to do. Again, if you join school, you can join the live sessions and ask questions. But I just want to show the rest of the world all the goodness that we are doing in the ORAT community. Hence, we are releasing those videos. To that end, we did have 3 new members join. Thank you very much. Manuel, Victor, and Joseph. Thank you for joining school. Also, let's congratulate James. James, congratulations for getting your next deal. Your card will be going out in the mail. Let's see what else we got here. Yep, I think that's about I think that's about all I got today. Again, it is Memorial Day. Get out there and enjoy. Remember those who served. Folks, I hope you have an amazing day. Again, it'll be a little bit shorter than normal. It is a 3-day weekend. Take care of yourself. Have fun. Don't forget that Steadily is the sponsor of the Daily Financial News. I did send them another 10plex to quote for Olivia and I as we go to them for more and more of our properties. Take care. Have fun. Happy Memorial Day.